Sheriff Schmidt, a few weeks ago, Tulare County Sheriff Mike Boudreaux testified before this committee that the Sinaloa cartel has already sunk deep roots into his county in California. Their activities include the murder of cartel opponents, rampant extortion of small businesses, and criminal activities that include drug and human trafficking. He testified that the cartel was so well organized that they'd actually divided the state into regions with their own regional units, including assassination units. He's fighting the Sinaloa cartel in California, and you're waging the same battle 1,500 miles away in Wisconsin. Tell us about the Sinaloa cartel that this administration has deliberately allowed into our communities.
Well, I'm hopeful that we don't get to the point of where California is. I think right now we have it to a point under control here in Wisconsin, as far as there's only a few of them, and they haven't gotten to the point of what you're seeing in California. But obviously, if we don't take action when we make the initial arrest and we just let them go into the wind and continue their operations, that's going to enable the leaders of the cartel to say, look, they're not doing anything to us in Wisconsin. What can we do now because they let us get away?
If we continue down this road another 4 years, what do you anticipate?
I anticipate we'll have additional, just like we're seeing across the country with the Tren de Aragua. We're going to see this happen here as well with this cartel.
What kind of crimes are they responsible for? I mean, these are not exactly Rotary Club recruits.
Right. No, these are individuals that in our areas we're seeing drug, fentanyl overdose, fentanyl distribution, methamphetamine distribution, pushing drugs. That's what we're seeing right now. Obviously, that grows as they become more prevalent in our communities. Right now, we are concerned because we don't want more families like you heard from here today. And that's what we're going to see if that continues.
We're seeing some 300 a day, I'm told, on average across the country. Sheriff Boudreaux estimated that fully half of the crime that he's now dealing with is due to illegal migrants. A few weeks before that, NYPD officials estimated that about 75% of the crime that they're now dealing with in Manhattan is due to illegal migrants. What percentage of the crimes would you estimate that you're dealing with are now due to illegal migrants in your county?
I believe it's growing. It's a much lower rate yet. We still have hope here. I think we're probably in the 20% range, 15 to 20, but it's growing.
How rapidly has this condition developed?
Over the last 4 years is when it really has started to rear its ugly head. Before that, we had slow incremental growth. There's been that growth. But over the last 4 years, it's really exploded, and we're seeing it especially in the drug area.
Sheriff Boudreaux testified that according to his discussions with his counterparts across the country, the problems that he was describing in his own county and that you've described in yours are becoming typical of communities throughout America. Have you discussed this with other sheriffs, and what are they saying?
As I said earlier, yeah, we've talked about it. I asked the other sheriffs for examples, and there was no shortage of supply of examples across our state of these various types of crimes. And in my neighboring county of Columbia County, he couldn't break it down into individuals. He just said, there's a bunch of these various types of sexual assaults. We're seeing a lot of sexual assault types crimes, things that you would never accept here. It's almost like part of their culture. We're seeing the sexual assaults and the drug offenses, homicides, scams across the variety of all the different crimes that we see. They're pushing it here.
Mr. Curtis, what we seem to be seeing is that illegal migrants concentrate in very large numbers in very short periods of time in small towns and then completely overwhelm those local communities. So a lot of communities haven't faced this yet. But for those that do, the effects are devastating. What would you say to those communities that have not yet seen this influx into their towns and neighborhoods?
Great question, sir. Unfortunately, a lot of this does come down to resources. As we've heard from a school district standpoint, you need to be prepared if you're going to see this influx of ESL students. But frankly, I would argue it even goes, unfortunately, beyond that, right? A lot of the school resource officers in Whitewater, according to the emails that we reviewed, really spend a significant amount of their time simply doing home visits to identify, why students aren't attending. The truancy rates have significantly increased in the district. So these are really basic issues, almost operational issues that school districts have to be prepared for. And obviously, the sheriff and the district attorney have noted some of the law enforcement concerns.
So if it hasn't come to your community, it's going to, if this continues. And if it's in your community, it's going to grow if this continues. Is that essentially what the two of you are telling me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.